Sagittarius. A mysterious soul will seek you out this week. And it could change your life forever. Have you ever felt as if someone was walking toward you? Not someone you know. Not exactly a stranger either. But a soul that seems to have known you before you even knew yourself. If you're hearing these words, I don't believe it's a coincidence. Because this week, a mysterious soul is being led to you. Not to fill a void, but to awaken something you've forgotten long ago. A part of you that has always been waiting for this meeting. And perhaps, just a few days from now, that moment will arrive. Not with noise. Not with warning. But when it comes, you will know. You will feel time stand still. You will hear a sound as quiet as wind, yet it echoes like a harmony between souls. And you will understand, your life is about to turn in a completely different direction. In this video, I will share with you very specific signs that show a sacred encounter is approaching. I will show you why only Sagittarius, with your open heart and ever-seeking spirit, can recognize the gift that life is now bringing forth. And more importantly, I will speak about something many have missed their entire lives. Simply because they didn't believe in the slightest whisper from the universe. Dear Sagittarius, you are brave. You are someone who keeps hoping, even when the world makes you question yourself. And because of the honesty in your heart, because of the light that has never gone out in your eyes, the universe has chosen you to receive this special encounter. A soul carrying a message, or an answer, your heart has held onto for a very long time. A reunion that could forever change the way you understand yourself. If these words are touching something hidden inside you, don't just listen and move on. Leave a simple but powerful comment below. I am ready to receive my destined soul. It's more than an affirmation. It's a way to connect directly with the field of energy now moving around you. Because sometimes, one small act, like writing down a sentence of trust, is the signal the universe needs to know you are ready. And if these words mean something to you, if you feel the urge to share so someone else may be awakened too, spread this video to someone whose heart you believe is also waiting for a sign. Because we are all souls on a journey to find one another again. And who knows? Maybe you're not just receiving a sacred meeting. Maybe you're opening the door to something far greater, something your heart has long believed was real. There are people who come into this world with a specific mission, to build homes, plant trees, build communities, keep the fire alive for their families. But there are also those who don't belong anywhere. They are born with a heart that always points toward the horizon. With a question that keeps echoing inside them, is there something greater waiting for me out there? Sagittarius is like that. Not because you don't know how to settle down, but because your soul simply wasn't designed to stay still. You don't live just to survive. You live to understand, to feel, to touch a deeper truth that ordinary eyes cannot see. And because of that, you are always a pilgrim in this world. Someone who can walk through countless lands, countless stories, countless losses, and still keep the clarity in their gaze and the deep belief that they are being led. Others might not understand. They might call you a dreamer, unstable, someone who is never content with what they have. But only you know that feeling. The feeling of your heart vibrating whenever your soul brushes against a piece of truth. The feeling of hearing an ancient sound, inaudible to others, but one you know is real. In many ancient astrological systems, Sagittarius is seen as the cosmic bow, its arrow always aimed high, toward the light of sacred knowledge. It's no coincidence that you often receive strange spiritual signs. You dream seemingly unrelated dreams but wake up with the feeling, I was just reminded of something. You have strong intuition about places you've never been. You may feel you've known someone within minutes of meeting them. And then, as if by fate, something inside you shifts. That is not a coincidence. That is the universe responding, To a soul that is always listening. Because you are different. Because you don't live just to know what is right, but to touch why it is right. You don't stop at simple answers. You go further. You dig deeper. You want to feel the root of truth itself. And you are brave enough to admit that, sometimes, you hold nothing in your hands except faith. But maybe, that is the greatest gift the universe has given you. Faith. The pure kind of faith, not based on evidence. The kind a child has when they look up to the sky and say, I know God is listening. In a world full of doubt and brokenness, people like you are the flame that keeps the heart of humanity warm. You live like someone who records the light. Every time you believe in something good, darkness is pushed back a little more. You may not realize it, but your eyes, the way you see life, have saved someone in despair. Your quiet persistence, even when no one cheers for you, has given someone else the reason not to give up. And if you're hearing these words, it might be because you're about to enter a new chapter. A moment where the universe sends you a soul companion, not to change you, but to reflect the deepest part of you. A soul that will see you, not with ordinary eyes, but with the eyes of spirit. That meeting, if you are awake, open, and fully present, will touch the most hidden place in your heart. It could be just a brief conversation, a glance, a single moment. But like fire in the night, it will awaken the entire light that has been sleeping within you. Do you believe that a stranger could appear in your life, not to stay forever, but just to say one thing, just one thing, and your entire life shifts from that point forward? Maybe that's how the universe has always worked. Silently. But never randomly. Dear Sagittarius, if you've ever felt alone on your journey, know this, the universe has never abandoned you. It's just that you've always been one step ahead of the world. And because you walk by faith, you always arrive before others even realize it. That's why sacred encounters often come to you, not to give you more answers, but to help you keep going, with the quiet certainty in your heart that you are not alone. You are the bridge between the invisible and the seen. You are the one who tells stories no one sees, but every soul needs to hear. So if you feel that something is shifting, if you've been dreaming more, thinking deeper, and feeling something stirring inside that you can't quite name, believe. Because perhaps, a soul is truly walking toward you right now. A person who has been sent, not because you need them, but because you are ready. Leave a simple but sincere comment below. I am listening to the call of the soul. You may not even know exactly what you're waiting for, but that sentence could be the signal that begins the meeting. And once you've spoken your readiness, the universe will do the rest. That meeting will not arrive with thunder or blinding light. It will come in silence, just like everything truly sacred always does. And when it comes, you will know. There are moments in life that never come back. Not because they pass too quickly, but because they were designed to happen only once. Once, enough to awaken an entire journey. Once, enough to open a door you never dared to knock on. And strangely, those moments rarely come with fanfare or music. They appear in what seems like the most ordinary of situations. A strange glance at a familiar cafe. A stranger asking for directions in the soft rain. A conversation that begins by chance, but is never forgotten. You might think it was just coincidence. But if you're a Sagittarius, you know, nothing is truly random when the soul is ready. Because this week, something is being arranged. An appointed meeting between you and a soul carrying a message your heart has long been waiting for. Maybe you've dreamed about them. Maybe you once wrote something you didn't quite understand, only now realizing it was a calling from the future. The miracle doesn't lie in who you meet, but in how you recognize them in that moment. As if your soul has known exactly who they are, from before this world ever began. That feeling, it can't be named. Only felt. It doesn't come from logic. It comes from a deeper place, where intuition, soul memory, and the light of the universe meet. And what amazes me, is that the universe is never in a hurry. It waits until you are open enough, calm enough, quiet enough in your mind. Only then does it send that person, so subtly, that if you're not paying attention, you could miss them. That's why you need to slow down this week. To see more clearly. To feel more deeply. To be fully present in even the most seemingly meaningless moments. Because sometimes, it is that moment that becomes the turn in your destiny. There's a quote I always remember. The universe doesn't shout, it whispers. And only those who are silent can hear it. Sagittarius is one of the rare souls who can hear those whispers. Because you are not bound to a small reality. You always have a part of your soul living in the in-between. The place where emotions don't need language, where everything is felt in frequencies. That's why you often know something is about to happen, without anyone understanding how you know. You don't need a reason to believe. You just need the slight trembling in your heart, and you know. You are on the right path. And this time is no different. If your heart is stirring without cause. If you find yourself pausing in the middle of life's chaos just to admire a leaf, a glance, a fleeting moment, then understand, something is coming close. Someone is walking toward you, and you are being prepared to recognize them. Don't expect a perfect encounter. Because the sacred doesn't need perfection. It just needs you to be present. Deep enough. True enough. And brave enough to open your heart when life places you before a kindred soul. I know, there are wounds in you that make trust difficult. There have been times you opened up and were left behind. There were times you thought you had met the one, only to watch it all fade away. But still, you believe. A part of you still believes. And it is that part, the one that never stopped burning, that is now calling this soul to you. Not to fix your wounds, but to remind you. You don't need to be whole to be seen. You only need to be real. Because they are not coming to repair you. They are coming to touch the unbroken part inside you, the part you forgot was still there. You may ask, how will I know it's them? The answer is, you will feel it. Not with your eyes. Not with your hands. But with the unexpected stillness of your mind. When you find yourself speaking without trying to be interesting. When time suddenly flies. When you walk away, but your heart is still standing in that moment. That is the sign. That is the sacred moment. And don't underestimate how small it may seem. Because sometimes, a person may walk into your life for just a few minutes. And leave behind a sentence that changes the course of your journey. And sometimes, the meeting is only the unlocking of a new layer of awareness within you. A layer that, from then on, changes the way you live. Share with me, if you've ever met someone who made you feel as though your entire life was leading up to that one moment. Leave a comment below. Who knows, your story might be the key for someone else also searching for the same thing. And if you've never felt that, then maybe, your first time is coming. Believe. Listen. Be present. Because that meeting doesn't require many conditions. It just needs a heart gentle enough not to miss the sacred thing walking toward it. And who knows, maybe that stranger is the soul twin you've been waiting for your entire life. When you're quiet enough, you will hear it. And when you hear it, you will never be the same again. I still remember a quote that stunned me the first time I heard it. There are people who are not sent to walk with you for life. They are sent only to hand you a piece of light. And then, they leave. Back then, I didn't fully understand what it meant. But as the years went by, I met people like that. They came into my life, gently, like a breeze. No attachment. No promises. But after those encounters, I was never the same again. They arrived and left behind a question. A feeling. A memory with no name. And I understood, sometimes, God doesn't send someone to accompany us forever. He sends someone delicate enough to awaken what's been sleeping in our hearts. Maybe it's faith. Maybe it's a long-suppressed longing. Or simply, a reminder that we are still alive, truly alive, and that something sacred is still waiting ahead. I say this to you, Sagittarius, because I believe the soul coming closer to you this week is exactly that kind of person. Not someone for you to cling to, but someone who brings you back to yourself. They might not stay long. They might leave before you even realize the value of the meeting. But like the light of a shooting star, even a single flash is enough to light up your entire sky for a night. And the amazing thing is, that light keeps living inside you, long after they're gone. It's not about whether they stay or leave. It's about the fact that they came. And that you were ready to receive the gift their soul brought. I've heard many people mourn brief encounters. They blame life, fate, even the universe for giving them something beautiful, only to take it away. But Sagittarius, you are not the kind of person who keeps someone by a thread of ownership. You know that the soul cannot be bound. And you're compassionate enough to understand. A short meeting, if deep enough, can leave a mark that lasts longer than a whole lifetime spent without truth. That is one of the most beautiful gifts of a Sagittarius soul. You don't need something to last forever. You just need it to be real when it arrives. Because you understand. What is sacred always transcends time. I too once experienced a meeting like that. A person I saw only twice in my life. No contact. No ongoing connection. But to this day, I still hear their laughter whenever I fall. I still remember the way they looked at me, like I didn't need to try harder. Like I was enough simply by existing. And I know, I was awakened by a soul sent at exactly the right moment. They didn't come to love me. They didn't come to change me. They came to remind me, I still carry light. Perhaps this week, someone like that will step into your life. At a familiar cafe. In a hospital hallway. Or on a perfectly ordinary afternoon. But if you are present, you'll recognize them right away. Not because they're striking. But because they are quiet in a way that slows your heart down. And your eyes meet theirs, as if you've known each other in a life long ago. You'll say things you never thought you'd dare say. You'll share things you've never told anyone. Not because you've lost control. But because you feel safe. Safe in a way that's hard to explain. As if the world around you has disappeared, and you're speaking with the most sacred version of yourself. It's not the most romantic feeling. But it's the most real. And the miracle won't lie in how long the meeting lasts. It will lie in what wakes up afterward. After they're gone, you'll begin to see the world with different eyes. You'll make decisions you were once afraid of. You'll choose to live truthfully, even if that truth makes you feel alone. And you'll start to hear a quiet voice within, one that says, I once was light. And I can be light again. Share with me, if you've ever had a meeting like that. One that doesn't even require memory. Just close your eyes, and you're back in that moment. Write it down. Leave it in a comment. Not just to remember, but to give it away. Because maybe someone watching this video right now is in need of that light. And your story might be the first light they've seen in a very long time. Because that's how light spreads. Not loudly. Not with spectacle. Just one soul touching another soul. Gently. But enough to change everything. And when you're finally ready to see that, you'll know this upcoming meeting is no accident. It is a response. An echo sent back from the universe. Meant just for you. One thing I've learned after many years of watching life is this. Not everyone sees the sacred when it arrives. Not because they're unworthy, but because they're too busy to notice. Busy with plans. With deadlines. With old wounds that still have no name. And I wonder, how many miracles we've missed in this life. Just because we were rushing? Rushing so fast we don't pause to hear a familiar song in the middle of a crowd. Rushing so fast we don't stop to really see the face that just passed by, but left behind a feeling we couldn't name. Rushing so fast that even our soul can no longer hear its own voice. That's why, sometimes, the universe doesn't speak in words. It sends signals. Soft ones. But strong enough for a listening soul to recognize. Those signals. They might come in a dream that seems meaningless. In a sudden instinct to change your routine. In a quiet nudge that says, stop here, even if you have no idea why. I call that a gentle invitation from the universe. And you, if you are a Sagittarius, have a rare gift. You are sensitive to those invitations. Not because you're superstitious, but because you don't live by flat logic. You listen with your whole heart. And when your heart stirs, you follow, even if you don't know where it will take you. That gift makes you different. And it's that very gift that will keep you from missing the sacred meeting that's approaching. Because that soul won't knock on your door with a sign. They will arrive like a question. A gentle shift. A silence that carries a strange kind of weight. I once missed a meeting like that. I was too focused on my schedule. I saw someone's eyes look at me, like they recognized me. But I just nodded politely and kept walking. A few steps later, I stopped. Something told me to turn back. But they were gone. And I knew something had passed through my life, like a bird that would never return. Since that day, I learned something. There is nothing more important in this world than full presence. Nothing sacred can truly happen if your mind is somewhere else. Sagittarius, you've been gifted with a heart that's endlessly curious and eyes always wide open to the world. Use that this week, not to search, but to recognize. Because the universe won't send someone with a glowing sign on their forehead that says, I am your destined one. The universe tests you with simplicity. A person sitting near you in a meeting. Someone striking up a conversation in a cafe. A person who gives you a strange feeling, as if they're carrying something that belongs to you. And if you're paying attention, you'll realize, not all meetings are the same. Some arrive with a completely different frequency. A vibration that somehow makes you see yourself more clearly when you're with them. That is the soul being sent to you. And you need to make space for them to step in. Space is not just about time. It's about openness. It's about readiness. It's about slowing down, observing, feeling, and allowing yourself not to be swept up in the rush of life. This week, you may feel the urge to change small things. Arrive to work 10 minutes early. Get coffee at a different spot. Sit in a new place at church. Don't assume it's random. It could be the universe rearranging the board, putting you in the right place at the most crucial moment. And if you find yourself having clearer dreams, or hearing the same old song over and over, don't ignore it. That may be your soul being reprogrammed to be ready for a meeting that transcends ordinary logic. Sagittarius, you know that every true meeting happens on the soul level before it ever takes place in the physical world. And right now, your soul is already vibrating because it knows that person is coming close. Believe in that. And comment below if you've ever recognized something sacred, just because you chose to slow down on an otherwise ordinary day. Your story might be the reminder someone else needs, that there's still goodness in this world. Because not everyone needs a grand miracle. Sometimes, just one honest look, is enough to heal. And maybe you're not just being prepared to meet someone. Maybe you're being prepared to become a quiet miracle for them. Some people appear in your life only once. They arrive as softly as breath. They leave as quietly as the first rain of the season. And yet, they leave the deepest mark. Not because they're perfect. Not because they overwhelm you from the first glance. But because after they've gone, you're no longer who you were before. You start to think differently. Feel differently. You find yourself pausing in moments that used to make you rush. You become quieter, but deeper. You speak less, but more clearly. No one else can understand how one brief meeting could leave such a lasting impression. But your soul understands. And maybe that's enough. I've always believed this. True meetings don't end in a moment. They live inside us like a wave. Small. Soft. But rippling outward, day by day, week by week, year by year. Until one day, you look back and realize your life changed direction because of that one encounter. I still remember the light in their eyes, like a candle burning quietly in the night. Not consuming, but illuminating a part of my soul I thought had gone dark. And then they left. No goodbyes. No promises. But after that, I began to write again. I dared to say the things I feared. I dared to forgive myself. And I dared to believe, good things aren't gone. They're just waiting for someone awake enough to notice. Dear Sagittarius, if you have a seemingly small meeting this week, don't judge it by its length, its form, or its outcome. Feel it with your heart. Because the heart doesn't need proof to know what's real. A single comment can become your guiding truth for the rest of your journey. An offhand hug can soothe the deepest crack in your soul. A single glance can bring you back to where you've always belonged, within yourself. And here's something you need to know. The other person may not even realize how deeply they're affecting you. They might just be someone living truthfully in the moment. Someone being honest with what they feel. Someone following an inner voice, not knowing why they're in that place, at that moment, with you. But that's the most beautiful part of soul meetings. They require no preparation, no explanation, no control. They simply happen. A soft collision between two worlds, at the right time, with the right energy, between the right souls. And then, something magnificent begins. Not loudly. Not for show. But enough to change how you love, how you forgive, how you walk forward from that moment on. I want you to know. If you feel your heart softening lately. If you find yourself breathing slower, remembering forgotten dreams. Then maybe, that soul has already started to affect you. Even if you haven't officially met them yet. Because energy arrives before form. And transformation always begins with the smallest movements within the soul. You may not recognize it right away. But in the coming days, you might find yourself making decisions you used to avoid. You'll start waking up a little earlier, not out of duty, but because of a vague pull in your heart that today might be different. You'll speak more gently to those you love. You'll let go of something you've been holding onto for far too long. And you'll realize that you've already started a new journey. Not because someone did something miraculous for you, but because their presence awakened the miracle that had always lived inside you, but you forgot. If you're feeling something like this, share it with me. Write down one small thing that has shifted in you after what seemed like a brief encounter. Leave your message, who knows? It might become a mirror for someone else on a similar path. Because meetings like these, even when they happen in silence, always have the power to stir a whole world within us that words could never reach. And maybe, just maybe, the sentence you write today will become the beginning of someone else's destined encounter tomorrow. There's a truth not everyone is ready to face. Sometimes, The person who stirs your soul the most isn't your missing half. They are a mirror, reflecting the part of you you've lost on the journey of growing up. A different version of yourself, who once lived, once believed, once burned brightly, before life made you shrink. When that soul enters your life, you won't necessarily fall in love. You may not fully understand them. But one thing will be clear. They make you remember yourself. Not the version from yesterday, but your truest form, the original self, untouched by disappointment, untouched by labels, untouched by the habit of pretending to be strong every day. Maybe they carry something you once had. A quiet belief. An unnamed longing. A strange light in their eyes, the very light you used to have, but laid down somewhere along the way. They won't say much. They won't try to change you. But the way they exist, the way they see the world, the way they listen, will make you want to live more truthfully, more bravely, more tenderly. Because when you stand before someone who is being fully themselves, you can't keep pretending to be someone else. And that's why you'll feel it all at once, close and distant, moved and scared. Because deep down, you'll know, this isn't an ordinary meeting. This is a face-to-face encounter with the part of your soul that had fallen asleep. I once met someone like that. Not a soulmate. Not a lifelong partner. But I'll never forget how it felt when they said, "I see you, not through what you say, but through the silence you try to hide." And you know what? We often don't need someone to rescue us. What we need is someone true enough to reflect the truth already inside us. And that's exactly who these destined souls are. They don't come to save us. They come to awaken us. Sagittarius, you have a big heart. And because of that, you often open up too quickly. But this soul didn't come for love, not the way you've loved before. They came so you could face yourself. Face the old wounds. Face the light that has gone out. Face the dreams you've abandoned. And you'll feel, strangely, a kind of pain that's also beautiful. Because you'll begin to remember who you used to be, what you used to long for, and how you once wanted to live. And you'll start to ask, why did I stop halfway? Was I afraid of my own light? Did the pain make me forget the radiant being I used to be? That is the beginning of your return. Not a return to them. A return to yourself. You might cry. Not from pain. But because finally, someone sees you. Not the version you've built, but the true energy you've always carried within. Don't be afraid of that feeling. Don't try to explain it. Let it flow through you like a stream washing over your soul. And if you feel the urge to write, to paint, to speak something you haven't dared to share in a very long time, do it. Because that is a sign. You are opening the door for your truest self to live again. Leave a comment below, write about a dream you once had but stopped chasing because of life. Not just for me, but as a promise to yourself. Who knows, maybe someone watching this video carries the exact same dream, but hasn't had the courage to name it. And when you dare to write it down, you're not just healing yourself, you're reigniting someone's belief across the world. Because at our core, we are all versions of one another, trying to remember who we are. That soul might not be the one you'll walk the rest of your life with. But without a doubt, they are the one who gave you a reason to stop living in forgetfulness. And maybe, after this encounter, you'll stop waiting for someone else to complete you. Because you'll begin the journey of becoming the most complete version of yourself. Without needing permission. Without needing approval. Only needing the courage to live your truth. If you've stayed with me until this very moment, then maybe, you're not just listening to a video. You're listening to your own soul. Because underneath the words I've spoken, maybe you've realized, this isn't a story about someone who's about to enter your life. It's a story about you. About the deepest part of you that's slowly beginning to stir. Maybe you still don't know who that soul is. You don't know where you'll meet them, how, or when. But what matters more is that you are ready. You're slowing down. You're listening. You're breathing with more intention. And that awakening, that very energy, will be the lighthouse that leads that soul to you. You don't need to go looking. You just need to be present when the time comes. And you'll realize it's not that this person brings the miracle into your life. It's you. Your openness, your gentleness, your stillness. That opened the door for the miracle to enter. You are the one who creates the space for this sacred meeting to happen. You are the missing piece that soul is also searching for. You may not know it yet, but you are the gift that they need. So don't think of yourself only as the one being chosen. You, too, are being sent. And this meeting, in truth, is not just an event in your life. It is a sacred convergence of two souls, returning once again to the same frequency. Maybe it's to exchange a lesson. Maybe to heal each other. Or maybe just to sit still, look into each other's eyes, and feel, I am no longer alone in this world. Perhaps you've come a long way to arrive at this moment. And I believe everything you've been through, the losses, the unanswered questions, the long nights of not knowing what's ahead, none of it was in vain. It was all preparing the way for something more sacred to come. And that something is very near. So near that if you close your eyes and listen closely, you might already feel its presence. Soft as breath, but undeniably real. Before we part, I just want to ask you one thing. If this meeting arrives on a day you least expect, in a moment that seems unremarkable, will you be still enough to recognize it? If yes, then write me a promise in the comments. A commitment to yourself. I am ready to live truthfully, so I can recognize the sacred when it arrives. And if this video has stirred something in your heart, leave a like. Share it with someone who might need it. Because you never know. Maybe what you send out today will be the signal that helps another soul find their way to someone's heart. The universe always works through connection. Nothing is random. No one is forgotten. And you, Sagittarius, you weren't born to stay still. Like an arrow released from the bow, you fly through the heavens, only to return, not to where you began, but to your own heart, now shining brighter than ever. To return to the soul's promise, the one you carried long before you entered this world. They are coming. But more importantly, you are already here. Present enough. Deep enough. Loving enough. To not just recognize, but to receive. Thank you for letting me walk this part of the journey with you. And when that sacred moment arrives, let your heart be the one to answer. No need for logic. No need for proof. Only truth. Only a quiet nod. And the soul will remember its way home.